Not sure what drama resources to purchase? Well, today on Resource Review, the spotlight's on 3 resources for secondary creative arts, specifically drama. A set of theatrical masks.
It looked really good, so if you can stop and do that to the audience at some point, that would look fab.
Forging links with a professional theatre company.
What was it now? Baby sham and 2 apple tart.
That's a pineapple lager.
And downloadable audio editing software. Will they get a round of applause from our expert panel? To find out, keep watching Resource Review. Recommending today's resources is drama consultant for the City of York, Colin Jackson.
Hi.
Joining Colin, we have Adrienne Jones, freelance educational consultant. And we also have drama teacher Pauline Ireland from Joe Richardson Community School in Dagenham. Thank you very much for coming. It's great to have you all on the show. So Colin, let's begin then with the masks. So can you explain the resource to us and why you like it?
OK, it's the basic mask set from the Trestle Theatre Company, which comprises of 8 archetypes or caricatures. There's a teacher resource video and a teacher resource pack. They really do have a very high impact with a diverse range of groups, whether it's maybe disaffected pupils or pupils that maybe are struggling to find the confidence to perform. There's something about the immediacy of the masks that just seems to work. OK,
well, thank you. Before we go any further, let's have a look at the masks in action. When drama teacher Nikki Stocker and her group of aspiring actors from Beaumont School in St Albans used the masks in their drama lesson, we were watching from the wings to see how they got on.
OK, guys, can we make a start, please? Today we're going to be doing a lesson on masks. So first thing, can you just tell me anything that you know about mask work? The resource I was using today were some plastic masks made by Trestle Theatre Company. We use them sometimes with sixth form, sometimes with year 11s, but it was the first time I'd used them today with year 10s. The class today started off with me doing an introduction about masks and how you should wear a mask. I then put them into groups and gave them a silent movie task to do. What they're doing at the moment is they're doing a silent movie piece. Some of the groups working with masks, some of them working without the mask, doing kind of slapstick comedy. Okay, guys, I'm going to start the music, then whenever you're ready, off you go, yeah? I then got one of the groups who had performed without masks to then do their piece again with the masks on. The pupils reacted really well, I think, to using the masks today, considering that for the majority of them, they've never used masks in performance before. The pupils quite often rely on what they're doing with their faces to express character, and I think that this was really good to make them use their physicality instead. I liked what you were doing there with your chin on your hand, with that face. It looked really good, so if you can stop and do that to the audience at some point, that would look fab. I think that these particular trestle masks are very, very useful because they have such definite characters on the faces, which means when you're working with pupils, they can relate very strongly to those characters, and they look at a mask and immediately know that that person's grumpy, or that person's evil, or that person's sly. Whereas maybe masks that are a little bit more subtle would be more difficult for them to use in an introduction to masks lesson. And they're very simple, very good resource to use because there's nothing complicated about them, and they're very effective and very easy to use.
How did you feel there seeing them in use? I mean, have you seen pupils respond really well to them?
Yes, there's just something magical about masks in general. I mean, I do like working with masks, and I take the point that the teacher made about the subtlety of some masks and how some pupils find it difficult to work with that subtlety, whereas these are in no way subtle, and they key into the characteristics of the character, which then improves their physical control and characterisation, and you can use that as a springboard to other activities.
Well, Adrienne, what were your thoughts about the masks?
I think it actually helps support things like emotional literacy as well, because when you're actually wearing one of the masks, you're not necessarily aware of the mask that you're wearing. It's the audience, your audience, that is and can interpret feelings from it. And I thought the extract that we saw where the school were using it was really good.
Pauline, your experience of masks, did you like these ones?
I think they look fascinating. I work with plain masks, which don't have half the scope that these would in a classroom.
Do you think that £110 for the set is going to put people off, or do you think it's good value?
I thought it was a bit steep when I saw it at first, but now I've seen them in action, I think it is worthwhile investment if you've got a big enough budget in your department.
Well, thanks very much. Now let's move on to Colin's second choice of resource. And this is something a little bit different. Am I right, you're advocating establishing links with a local professional theatre company?
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to do is to encourage schools and theatres to reevaluate the way in which they engage with each other. So for the theatre, there's audience development elements coming through, and for the theatre, for the schools, there's curriculum enhancement. And in York, we're trialling a model of partnership with our local theatre, which is trying to see the theatre having an impact upon all curriculum areas, not just within drama and within English, but across all curriculum areas. And one of those projects involves pupils seeing rehearsals and seeing directors working with actors. I would encourage teachers to contact their theatres and to have a creative discussion with them about the way in which they can work together, for mutual advantage.
Well, thank you very much. When York Theatre Royal went to rehearse their latest production at Burnholm Community College, head of drama Tina Wright invited us along too to take a look.
Oh, nice to see you. What's it to be? White wine and Barbican?
2 double brandy's. Well. Where the hell's that now?
It's an unusual resource. We're using a live director and real actors, which is very exciting.
What was it now? Baby sham and 2 apple ties.
That's a pint and a half of lager.
Was a baby sham, wasn't it?
Get it together.
We've got Damien Pruden here. He's the artistic director at York Theatre Royal. He's beginning to direct a piece called 2 by Jim Cartwright, and this is a play he'll be directing properly for the spring season.
So you've got what's your poison there, right? And then as you come back, find the next person just coming in here.
Most GCSE syllabuses regard live theatre as an essential component. So for us as drama teachers, it means we've got a wonderful resource. They come into schools as they are today. They do workshops with the students on a particular aspect of the play.
The person that Kath's speaking to at the beginning, just from the way we've done it, what can you tell about that person?
The students get a great deal out of it because they need to know about both aspects, acting and directing. When they see somebody as a professional working in a professional situation, so he's bringing the professional situation into the school in front of them. It's just an opportunity that you don't often get. And for us to take the students to the rehearsal rooms would be very, very difficult. It's a fantastic resource. When the children go to see the play, they feel already that they know those people, they know the actors, they know the characters, they feel a part of it. That will have a knock-on, not only going with school to the theatre, but hopefully going when they're adults.
Well, Colin, that kind of experience is obviously going to give pupils fabulous insight. But what we saw there on the film is really just one strand of the type of partnership you're recommending.
Absolutely, yeah. The excerpt that you saw really is about communication and oracy. It's about how a director communicates intention to a group of actors and how those actors then communicate to an audience. But the other strands of the partnership that we've looked at have included links to design technology through model boxes, looking at marketing, looking at catering, looking at all elements of the theatre and using that as a resource for the curriculum, with no real additional expense for either the theatre or the school.
Right, well, it's clearly working in York. Pauline, is this something that, in your experience, other schools could hope to establish?
Definitely. It's something to be negotiated within the school amongst the timetable and the amount of curriculum time. But the idea that they come to you is so appealing to any teacher who's ever had to fill out a health and safety form for a visit, because instead of moving 30 students, you move 5 actors and a director into your space, which normally is a purpose-built space anyway, and they get to watch. I think for Key Stage 4 it would be invaluable. I think Key Stage 3 it wouldn't necessarily be so easy because the amount of classes that are generally taught, it's just not so logistically possible. But
can you see drawbacks to this? I mean, we're clearly thinking this is a great initiative, but is it really realistic?
I think it needs lots of people who are keen. And although it's happening in York, I think there might be some drama teachers in schools around the country who would love it to happen in a theatre near them. But for them to actually do bespoke projects like this may be tricky, so you might get disappointed schools. But you know, you've got someone like Colin who's working within the local authority who can actually help move it. And I think you probably need those connections to make it all happen well.
I mean, how do you think teachers who are watching this programme thinking, yes, I'd like this in my area, what do you think they should do?
I think it's a case of getting in contact with the theatre, and if they have an education department, speaking to the people within that department or speaking to the artistic director and saying, look, for example, there must be a point in your rehearsal process where all you need is an empty room and some chairs. Could you do that in our school, in our studio? And I'm sure that actually that they'd be fine with that idea.
OK. Well, thank you all very much. Now let's move on to Colin's third choice of resource. Again, something completely different. This is some downloadable music editing software called Audacity. So tell us about this, Colin.
What you get is a very self-contained piece of software that is very easily worked with by pupils and by staff. When looking at performance, voice is often something that students have difficulty having an appreciation of, and the mere fact of being able to hear their voice played back, I think, reaps benefits, but also being able to overlay that with particular effects, whether it's changing pitch or whether it's changing the speed of it or whether it's adding reverb or echo. OK,
well, what do the panel think? Have you had a chance to look at this software?
I've seen a bit of it and actually wanted further information, so on the web address it actually tells you what it's about, what it does, the fact it's to do with editing and recording. And it sounds as though the people who created it are very aware of user needs.
Pauline, is this the kind of resource that you think you could make use of?
Definitely. It looks really useful. I mean, soundscapes at Key Stage 3, narration at Key Stage 4, it'd just be fantastic to have that. And free.
I know. I mean, it surprises me that this is a free resource. Presumably there are others available which you pay for.
There is. The kind of big brother is Soundforwards, which costs an awful lot of money, but it's made with the same company. But you see, you can buy the trestle masks now, you see, because you've got the free software.
Saved all that money, of course. Of course.
Well, that's great. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. But to recap, the 3 resources that we looked at were the basic mask set from the Trestle Theatre Company, forging links with theatre companies, in this case York Theatre Royal, and the Audacity audio editor software. For more information about all of the resources that we've discussed today and to post your own comments about other resources, go to our website. It's teachers.tv/resource review. Or if you want to, email us resourcereview@teachers.tv. So all that remains for me to do is to say a very big thank you to our panel, to Colin, to Adrienne and to Pauline. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Resource Review. Bye-bye.